Educating your customers has a lot of benefits. One of them being that it builds a lot of trust pre-sale, but the other one is that it sets the right expectations so you have a smoother project journey and customer happiness by the end of it. Let's talk about those in today's video. Hey, I'm Spencer Powell and welcome back to Builder Funnel TV. If you don't know me, I'm the CEO over at Builder Funnel, and our marketing agency has helped our customers generate well over $150 million in sales of remodeling projects and custom homes. This channel, Builder Funnel TV, is where we share tips and strategies that have worked for us in hopes that they work for you too. So let's dive right in. Let's talk about 8 different pieces of content that you can be sharing and using to educate your prospects and your customers. And the first one is your unique process. And when it comes to design build and remodeling and custom building, the process is really what you're selling and what you're offering. Obviously, they want to be super pumped with the final outcome, but the journey to get there is really what you're educating them on and what you're selling them on. And that you can start at point A with nothing, and we're going to go down this process that we've done over and over and over again, and it will get us to the outcome that you want. And so what you want to be able to do is talk about that process so that people feel comfortable, like, hey, there's a roadmap, there's a proven way of getting from point A to point Z. The next one is costs. And some people still do not like to hear this, especially at the higher price points. If you're selling remodels that generally land in the $250,000 to $750,000 range, why do I want to talk about costs? Like, my customer doesn't care about that, or they're higher income, or I don't want to scare people away. And I always push back on that because, one, we do want to talk about costs because we want to pull in the right people, but we also want to repel the wrong people. We don't want to attract a whole bunch of leads that want to do $10,000 bathroom projects if your bathrooms start at $75,000. And so the idea is that if you talk about costs, but in ranges, then you don't have to say like a kitchen costs $152,400, because that's just not the truth, right? The truth is it depends. It depends on how big the project is, it depends on the finishes, it depends on a whole number of factors. But that's what you can talk about. You can say a typical kitchen of ours will be between 100 and 300,000. Here's why you might be in the 100 to 150 range. Here's why you might be kind of in the middle of this range. Here's why you might be at the high end of this range. And so what that does is it gives people context around what to expect, but also the person that was like, man, I was hoping to spend 20 grand on my kitchen. Hopefully they recognize, like, this company probably isn't the company that can help me. I'll go find another company that specializes in something else related to kitchen. So it's really important that you talk about cost, even if it's broad and in ranges, but it will certainly help you qualify in and qualify out in terms of your prospects. The next is timelines. So if you think about the buyer journey, somebody going from dreaming about their kitchen to trying to figure out how can I do this? How can I make this a reality? One of the questions they have is, how long is it going to take? And that will allow them to do some planning and thinking, hey, if this is going to take 6 months or 9 months, what am I going to do when I don't have my kitchen for that long? Do I want to live here? Do I not want to live here? Are we just going to be eating takeout the whole time? Do I have family or friends that I can use their kitchen? There are things that are going to impact their life, and as they're thinking about it, they want to be able to plan for that. And so learning about how long stuff really takes and how long different phases of the project take is really, really helpful in terms of educating on the front end, but also setting proper expectations through the customer journey. The next one is areas you serve. So pretty simple, but really, really critical. Having a service area map and outlining hey, this is where we service, our customers. Again, this is a good qualify in, qualify out. And so you want to be able to have this type of information available on your website, easy to find, and it doesn't have to go super in-depth beyond that, but you want to be able to talk about the areas that you serve, sound knowledgeable about those areas, if you kind of get deeper into the content strategy, but at a very basic level, a service area map showing people where you serve and where you don't. Next is how to prepare for a project. So again, with the larger scale projects, people want to know, what should I be doing? What are you going to be doing? How should I prepare in order to get ready for this? Are there things I need to think about, like not having my kitchen for 3 months? What am I going to do for meals? If they aren't going to be able to live in the home, that's something they need to be able to prepare for. So I think a lot of times we end up delivering this information during the sales process or even after we've gotten into a project. This is great information to pull into the front end, into your marketing, in your blogs, on your social media content, in your newsletters, and talk about how to prepare, because that will set the right frame of mind, and it builds a lot of trust, right? So somebody that's just coming straight up and saying, look, it's going to be messy for a while. Like, this is what to expect, and here's some tips around navigating not having a kitchen for 3 months. Like, that is super helpful, and it builds a lot of trust when they make it into the sales process. Next up is after the project is complete. What should you be doing? What should you be thinking about there? Again, if you think about this monster project that somebody's going on, it has lots of different phases. And if you break down each one of those phases, there are tips, there are strategies, there's helpful advice that you can offer to your prospects. And the more they know on the front end, the smoother everything is going to go during, because they'll be expecting it, right? And so if you're just very upfront with, hey, it's messy during this part, it's really exciting during this part, when you get done, like here's a couple things to watch out for, and then here are the exciting parts. And so if you talk about all those openly, then it allows them to digest that on the front end, but then when they make it to the sales process, they're not shocked by anything. And then when they actually become a customer, they're a lot happier as they go through each of those phases. And you can use that content that you've already created, that they've already seen, to then remind them at each stage as you go through. This one's not as fun, not as sexy, but the legal stuff, right? So there's details about what you do and what your customer needs to know in terms of like terms and conditions and contracts and all of that kind of stuff. So this stuff is important to educate your customers on, so that, again, they're not shocked, you're setting proper expectations. So it's another great area to create content around in both the marketing process, but also the sales process. And then finally, another big bucket for creating lots of content is industry insight and trends. So they're coming to you as the expert. And so if you want to showcase that expertise, talk about the things you know. Sometimes it can feel weird because you're just sharing stuff that just feels normal to you. It feels super regular. It feels like regular information. It's a bizarre feeling. But when you start talking to somebody that's not wrapped up in the industry, that doesn't know all the ins and outs of remodeling and all the latest trends, or why you might put something here versus here, why you wouldn't move this wall or why you could move this wall, you know all that, and it just feels normal, but it's not normal knowledge, it's expert knowledge. And so what you're trying to do is distill that expert knowledge and then communicate it and share it. And now when people are reading it, they're actually learning because it's new information to them. They don't know everything about the process. They don't know how long it takes. They don't know what it costs. They don't know what the latest trends are. They don't know almost everything that you know about this process. And so by sharing trends and insights and those little details and why you do something a certain way versus not, probably a lot of those came from mistakes that you've made, or why you do your process a certain way, or why you order it a certain way. All those things actually build up a ton of credibility and expertise. And so they're great pieces of content that you can build into your marketing plan. So there you have it. There's 8 different buckets of content that you can be using to educate your customers and attract more ideal projects, but also deliver with a lot happier customers through to the finish line. All right, we'll see you next time here on Builder Funnel TV.